You should sit in meditation for 20 minutes every day, unless you are too busy. Then you should sit for an hour. Hi, my name is Dr. Vivian Nix-Early. I am co-founder of BuildaBridge International. BuildaBridge is a Pennsylvania-based nonprofit that engages therapeutic art making to bring hope, healing, and relief to those in greatest need. And while in the past that has often meant supporting those in countries experiencing trauma, poverty, war, disaster, right now we feel the need to support all of the wonderful doctors, nurses, caregivers, and volunteers working in our health and nursing care facilities, working in places where the coronavirus is intense. So we are here to say thank you, but to also encourage you toward one of the most important things for caregivers under stress, self-care. And the opening Zen statement captures how critically important this is. Now, in just a few minutes, I'll be sharing some specific guidelines for self-care, followed by a review of the ABCs and the 4 M's of self-care. Now, I'm not one to talk. As professional caregivers, we often put others first. And as a psychologist, a clinical psychologist, a music therapist, and a university professor, my days involved working long hours, many where I wouldn't even take a break to eat. I would even get a little annoyed sometimes if I had to take a break to go to the bathroom. That's unhealthy. And in the very wise words of Dr. Shin, who appears in the final episode of this season's New Amsterdam medical TV drama, in the words of Dr. Shin, self-care saves lives. Dr. Shin got it right. The final episode introduces Dr. Shin as the new trauma surgeon that will be joining the New Amsterdam team next season. And though it might have seemed a subtle theme to some, that episode was actually all about this very topic of self-care. While the current emergency room staff expected him to jump full gallop into the chaos and fast pace of the emergency room, upon arriving, he took a shower. He took a nap when he needed it and took a break to eat an energy bar, all to the great irritation of the other short-staffed, overworked colleagues who felt him not to be a team player because of this. He got a lot of pushback from the other doctors and nurses who are used to working every minute at high intensity with no breaks. We might think this is some sort of caregiver ideal, but it is in fact a dangerous practice that can lead to traumatic stress. Dr. Shin got it right. Self-care saves lives. Now, the doctor he was talking to replied that she saves lives too, without naps. That just means that self-care can look different for each of us. Dr. Shin communicated that he expects to work hard and also to work at the top of his game if he is to be effective in caring for the trauma patients who enter the emergency room. So what did he do? Dr. Shin set boundaries. I always come when I'm called, and I always stay where I'm needed. So he set his own boundaries, took snack breaks, and refreshed his body, mind, and spirit. So how do you take care of yourself in order to stay as close to the top of your game as you can during a situation like the current one that seems to demand every waking moment be spent serving and helping others? And by the way, it does not have to take a lot of time. First, some quick general guidelines, and then, as promised, a quick review of the ABCs and the 4 M's of self-care. General guideline 1. Ideally, you want to encourage or engage in self-care activity before beginning your work. Then, several times during the day, and again to power down when you return home or when you finish your day. And there are so many things that we can do for self-care if we just take the time. And we'll have some resources for you at the end of this. Number 2, including intentional ritual And ritual is a series of small events performed together on a regular basis. Including intentional ritual in your day is one of the best ways to take care of mind, body, and soul, our physical, mental, and spiritual care. And doing that before we move into the chaos of our world is best. A 10-minute morning ritual then might include a 2-minute meditation or prayer, a 7-minute yoga sequence, and you can find many of those online, and might end with a 1-sentence mantra. Now, in our BuildaBridge trainings, we use a mantra based on a song by Janice Stanfield. I cannot do all the things that the world needs, but the world needs all the things that I can do, that I can do. Now, of course, you don't have to sing your mantra. You can recite it. But it's not just the reciting of the mantra that is most important. What's important is a mindful, being present and aware, attention, a mindful attention to the meaning of the words that you're saying to yourself. Now, your ritual might also include some grooming activities, some showering and dressing, and healthy nourishment. For me, that might be a fruit or protein smoothie and a piece of avocado toast. Ritual is important because it brings predictability, a sense of order, a sense of control, and a sense of safety into our lives. It is an important response to trauma. I want to make sure that you heard the healthy nutrition, because nutrition and rest are really critical also to self-care. At least 7 hours a night. The third general guideline: in one of your self-care breaks, give that left brain some relief and do some arts-based experiences that will fire the entire brain. That's what art making does. Music making, drawing, and movement and dance lower our cortisol levels. That's our stress hormone, as I'm sure many of you know. And it raises our oxytocin and vasopressin levels, the social hormones. It increases dopamine, the feel-good or the motivation molecule transmitter, and it increases dopamine levels. Now, strong rhythmic music can facilitate an internal sense of order to counteract an internal chaos. Visual art making helps us to externalize what is going on inside of us. And dance and movement can raise our energy level and give us a kinesthetic release of some of the energy and emotion that we might be feeling. And again, we can do all of this in just a few minutes. So, try dancing or skipping or just doing something goofy on your way down the hall or on your way to the restroom. How about keeping a cardstock or some paper and pencil or crayons around the nurse's station and do a 1-minute doodle without lifting your pencil from the page. Now at your next self-care break, come back and start coloring in your doodle. You might want to draw a wheel and write in the spokes the things you are grateful for or thankful for. This gratitude wheel is a good end of the day power down activity, so you might want to remember that. And by the way, if you do your doodles and the wheels, send them to us. We'd love to put them up on the BuildaBridge website, perhaps to encourage some of your colleagues to do some arts-based self-care. Creating is the opposite of helplessness. Creating is innately healing. When we create, it gives us a sense of control, as well as a sense of joy and a sense of beauty. Number 4, breathe, relax, stretch. Stop and take 3 to 5 breaths, deep cleansing breaths, often. Breathe in deeply and all the way out. Along with your breathing, add 90 seconds of progressive relaxation, tensing, and then relaxing in succession each of the muscle groups from head to toe. And of course, there are tons of body stretches that we can do anytime, anywhere, and we'll give you some links or resources for those too at the end. Now, a quick review of the basics of self-care. First, the ABCs. A is awareness, awareness of your feelings, awareness of the status of your health. Notice when you are not feeling like yourself. Ask yourself often, how am I feeling? And answer yourself. Are you noticing any warning signs for traumatic stress? Any cynicism? Feeling like there's no time or energy for yourself? Hopelessness beginning to creep in? Feeling disconnected? Maybe some nightmares? Negative beliefs creeping in? Feeling like the whole world is bad? So awareness of how you're feeling and the state of your health, and then awareness of the ways that you care for yourself. My favorites are playing in the water, listening to the rain, singing, coloring, buying flowers, playing music, making music, and creating art. So awareness of your health, awareness of how you care for yourself, and then awareness of your boundaries and your limits when you're right up against that line when enough is going to be enough. Are you able to challenge those negative beliefs and generalizations about the world or the people that you're trying to help? If you're having trouble challenging those, then pull a colleague aside and get some help with checking out those beliefs. So A is for awareness, B is for balance. Make sure there are things that feel good and relaxing to you in your daily life. Do you need some refocus of priorities to ensure time for self-care? Make sure you reorient those priorities if you need to. Set your phone alarm to signal times for self-care breaks if you're going to tend to forget to do this. Are you spending some time in reflection at the end of the day so that you power down? Remember, the gratitude wheel is one of those ways to do that. B is for balance. A is for awareness. C is for connection and creating meaning. When your sense of the world and your sense of yourself gets depleted, then it's time to reconnect with what is meaningful to you. That could be connecting to a higher power, to nature, to family, creating meaningful connections with virtual communities. I might have a flute circle group that I connect with, visiting places that have special meaning to you. So stay in touch with people, places, and things that make you feel grounded and centered. The 4 M's of self-care: mindfulness, movement, mastery, and meaningful connection. So we'll see some overlaps with the ABCs here. Mindfulness involves an intentional focus on and an intentional awareness of the present moment, the present internal reality, as well as a present external reality. And having this intentional focus and awareness with an attitude of acceptance and non-judgment. So practice mindfulness. The next time you eat a piece of dark chocolate, take 30 seconds to savor the smoothness of the texture. Notice how it melts in your mouth. Take note of the nuances of flavors that might be present. Stop your work and look out the window. What natural beauty can you find in your surroundings? On your next commute or in your workplace, try to notice something that you have never seen before. Mindfulness. Again, we'll have some more resources for many ways to practice mindfulness. Movement. Make sure that you are getting enough exercise, that you're stretching, that you're walking, that you're getting up if your day involves a lot of sitting down. So movement. Dance down that hallway. Mastery. Here's where creativity fits. Learn a new skill. Here's the time for you to do that thing that you've always wanted to try to do. Learn a new skill. Take some online lessons. Cook a new recipe. Engage in any kind of art making. And the focus is not so much on the created product, but on the process of the activity and mastering that skill. So mindfulness, movement, mastery, and finally, meaningful connection. So in addition to the comments we made earlier about connection when we were talking about the ABCs, connection could include volunteering in small ways, assisting your children with their self-care needs, checking in with a choir member if you sing in a choir by way of the phone, or praying for others. So mindfulness, movement, mastery, and meaningful connection. Well, hopefully this short video will encourage you in your journey to care for yourself as you attempt to care for many others, because we care deeply for you. Feel free to share this video with anyone else that you think could benefit. And to encourage you further, as I said, you will find some helpful links and resources with plenty of ideas for implementing these self-care guidelines. You'll find them on the BuildaBridge website, www.buildabridge.org. And feel free to contact us if you need additional help and information. We have a core of creative arts therapists who will do all they can to support you, as will I. Well, thank you for listening, and we wish you well on your journey to self-care.